You ever feel you have to be perfect to please your guru? You have to be perfect to please Krishna. You have to be perfect to please others. You have to be perfect because everyone's looking for perfection. And if you think like that, it can make you very depressed because you're not perfect. And I want to talk about what is perfection in Krishna consciousness. What does that mean? And it has nothing to do with the perfection that we think it is. It's how we define perfection. We need to understand what is perfection in Krishna consciousness. That has nothing to do with material perfection. So if you are like a perfectionist and you really need to make things perfect and you really feel like you're not doing enough and you're not enough, you're always a little short, you need to watch this. Our society stresses perfection, the secular society. And then you evaluate yourself in terms of how perfect you do things, how well placed you are in your job, how well placed you are financially, how you look physically. What does the perfect body look like? What does the perfect face look like? What does the perfect hair look like? What is perfection in a sport? What is a perfection in an occupation? We're obsessed with perfection. And then if we come to Krishna consciousness thinking that this is what Krishna wants, he wants perfection, and then I'll please him if I do things perfectly, we get completely sidetracked. Krishna is not going to be pleased if you perfectly pronounce the holy name without any devotion. If you perfectly do aarti or perfectly cook, perfectly do anything, but you're lacking in devotion. Prabhupada told a man who accused one of his disciples of not being able to pronounce Sanskrit perfectly, and Prabhupada said, yes, I know, but she has millions of times more love for Krishna than you will ever have. What was Prabhupada saying? That's such a powerful statement. He's saying, it's not perfection that Krishna's looking for. It's love. Bhakti is about love. It's about affection. It's about sincerity. It's about being unmotivated. It's about doing what the spiritual master wants. It's about doing what Prabhupada wants, even if we don't want to do it, even if we don't believe it, even if we may have doubt it's the right thing. But he said, do it, we do it. That's bhakti. That's love. Even following your vows, Prabhupada said, that is love. So when we're looking for perfection, we're never going to have it materially. And if we think to please Krishna, we have to be perfect materially, that's a foolish idea. If you study the qualification for bhakti, the one thing that comes up over and over and over again is sincerity. You have a motive to please Krishna. That's what pleases Krishna, not your level of bhakti. Well, how can I please Krishna because I'm down here? By being sincere. You know how many devotees please Prabhupada by their bhakti, by their service attitude, and they were not very Krishna conscious. You know how many devotees Prabhupada loved because of their self-sacrifice? Even though on the scale of 1 to 10, they were probably at a 2 in bhakti, looked at objectively according to Shastra. But in terms of the condition of their heart, their sincerity, their desire to please Prabhupada, they were off the charts. And that's what's important. Success, what does success mean? What does perfection mean? It means that I do my best to sincerely try to please Guru and Krishna. You can't do better than trying to do that. And if perfection, however you define it, is what makes bhakti, then until that day that you achieve that perfection, you can never say you have bhakti. And it's interesting that Prabhupada would also often talk about how his devotees had love for Krishna, how his devotees had love for him. Now, according to Shastra, we would say, we don't have love. We're just on the stage of bhajana kriya or nartya nivritti. There's no love there. And Prabhupada's saying love. Even with some of Prabhupada's disciples, he said they had bhav. Amazing, isn't it? They have bhav, emotion, affection. So, what did Prabhupada mean? It meant they had feeling when they served Krishna. Did it mean they were exhibiting all 8 sattvika bhavs, symptoms of ecstasy? Did it mean they were right on the cusp of prema? That's not what Prabhupada meant, but he meant they had heart, they had love, they were motivated only to serve him. They had some attachment to service, some attachment to chanting. That's what Prabhupada meant. He meant they were sincere. They were trying to please Krishna. They were trying to serve him. That's the perfection. The perfection is love. The perfection is trying to love, not some material perfection. If you're trying for material perfection, you're never going to get it, and you'll just be depressed. And Krishna doesn't even care for it. You remember the story? Vidura's wife fed Krishna banana peels because she was so overwhelmed, and Krishna appeared, just all of a sudden appeared at her home, and Krishna relished it. What does that have to do with material perfection? Offering banana peels? It is diametrically opposed to material perfection of an offering. But Krishna accepted that. Why? Because there was so much bhakti. Krishna tastes the bhakti, not the perfection. That's so important. If you have bhakti, that's your perfection.